So if you were listening, you would have noticed that there are 3 nerves involved in gustation. Number 1, the facial nerve. Number 2, the glossopharyngeal nerve. And number 3, the vagus nerve. So we'll follow taste sensations being picked up in the tongue along each nerve to their synapse in the brainstem. And then we'll talk about their common central pathway. And in the course of the following discussion, we'll also talk about some ganglia. Before we go on to talk about the ganglia though, you might be wondering what a ganglion is, so we'll briefly talk through it right now. So a ganglion is a collection of nerve cell bodies, and these arise at specific anatomical locations throughout the body. And as you can see in the diagram, the ganglia of the taste pathway are highlighted, and these are the otic ganglion, the geniculate ganglion, the pterygopalatine ganglion, the petrosal ganglion, and the nodose ganglion. So let's move on now to the nerves. The facial nerve is otherwise known as cranial nerve 7, and taste from the anterior 2/3 of the tongue is transmitted into the chorda tympani, which is a sensory branch of the facial nerve, and this nerve passes into the middle ear and crosses the tympanic membrane. A variable degree of taste information can bypass the middle ear via the otic ganglion to hitch a ride on the greater petrosal nerve, and the chorda tympani and the greater petrosal nerve converge at the geniculate ganglion. Taste from the palate travels along the greater petrosal nerve via the pterygopalatine ganglion, where it communicates with the trigeminal nerve. After the convergence at the geniculate ganglion, the afferent fibres form the intermediate nerve, which runs alongside but separate to the facial nerve proper. And both of these branches travel in the internal auditory meatus with the vestibulocochlear nerve. And do note that the gustatory fibres of the intermediate nerve synapse in the rostral solitary nucleus. The rostral solitary nucleus is synonymous with the gustatory nucleus. The glossopharyngeal nerve, which is our cranial nerve 9, is very important in this tutorial because it's responsible for the majority of taste sensation. This is because it innervates the posterior third of the tongue, including the valate papillae, which, if we remember back to our previous slides, house the majority of the taste buds. From the taste buds, nerve signals are transmitted in the lingual branches, which travel towards the jugular foramen. The inferior glossopharyngeal ganglion, also known as the petrosal or the petrous ganglion, contains the sensory cell bodies, and it is situated just below the jugular foramen. The glossopharyngeal nerve enters the cranium through the jugular foramen with the vagus nerve and the accessory nerve, and the afferent fibres travel through the superior glossopharyngeal or the lesser petrosal ganglion. They carry on into the medulla through the cerebellopontine angle to synapse in the rostral solitary nucleus, which is slightly caudal to the synapses of the facial nerve, and you can see this on our diagram just here. The vagus nerve is cranial nerve 10, and we've highlighted supralaryngeal branch of the vagus nerve, which carries taste information from taste buds on the laryngeal surface of the epiglottis. So this branch joins the vagus nerve from the thoracic and abdominal internal organs, and their sensory cell bodies form the inferior vagal ganglion. The afferent fibres enter the cranium through the jugular foramen with the glossopharyngeal nerve and the accessory nerve, and pass through the superior vagal ganglion. And they synapse in the rostral solitary nucleus, caudal to the synapses of the glossopharyngeal nerve. Other projections of the vagus nerve, such as those responsible for saliva secretion and gastric secretion and motility, synapse in the solitary nucleus. And this explains why taste increases salivation and gastric activity. The vagus nerve is also an effector of the vomiting reflex, so a bad taste can cause you to vomit. This is important evolutionarily, as it's allowed us to recognize and rapidly expel potentially harmful foods based on their taste. By the way, if you're interested, there's another video on Kenhub covering the innervation as well as the blood supply of the tongue. And if you're interested, you should check it out on our website. It's called The Neurovasculature of the Tongue.
If you found this quick anatomy or physiology video helpful, you'll enjoy our video tutorials even more. Click on the button and you'll see what I mean. We have hundreds of videos available to our premium members, not to mention all the fun quizzes, complete articles, and atlas sections to solidify your knowledge. Click on the button in the middle to watch the full-length video and master anatomy and physiology.